never before. America is back, and we want to keep America great, and we will do so by approving the Save America Act, which means all voters must show voter ID. All voters all voters must provide a little thing called proof of citizenship. And there will be no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, military deployment, or travel. And you won't have cheating on the elections anymore. It's very simple. I'm proud of you. And I have a special gift for these patriots. This morning on America's 250th birthday, a new flag was flown above the United States Capitol. And tonight I present it to you to soon be planted by American astronauts on their upcoming return to the moon. And in addition to that, I gave them and all of the great heroes that you saw up on stage tonight and a few others that couldn't quite make the stage, I gave them a very special medal from the White House. So it's an honor. Thank you very much, everybody. Appreciate it. So then I assume you're going to be heading to Mars, right? We're going to be going to Mars very soon. And I think that's something that we do have in mind. And we're going to do the moon, and we're going to go from there. We're going to go to Mars, and we're going to continue to be way ahead. From a declaration in Philadelphia to victory at Yorktown, from the bustling factories of the heartland to the towering snow-capped summits of Alaska, from the endless frontier of the open Wild West to the magnificent sand dunes at Kitty Hawk, from the glimmering skyline of Manhattan to the far side of the moon, you just saw that, and from the now safe and beautiful capital of Washington. Think of it, Washington, D.C., our capital. Our capital is now safe, gleaming, and beautiful again. It's safe again. Went from a very unsafe place 2 years ago to one of the safest cities in the country and one of the most beautiful. To the gleaming waters of the Gulf of America. There is no challenge Americans cannot overcome. There is no place we cannot go. There is no goal we cannot reach, and there is nothing that Americans cannot do, and we're proving that right now. Our stock market is the strongest it's ever been. We have $19.2 trillion being invested in our country, which is 6 times more than ever happened before. We're building more factories in the United States than ever before. Everyone's 401ks are at the highest number they've ever been. And more people are working today in the United States than any time in the history of our country. But in this country, we can achieve the wildest and most impossible dreams. And no dream in history is bigger or more incredible than the one that started on July 4th, 1776. The war for independence was launched by Minutemen, farmers, blacksmiths, tradesmen, who took up their muskets against the mightiest army on earth, the most powerful army, an unbeatable army.
this wing came home in May from a historic 11-month deployment. The wing logged nearly 12,000 launches across the deployment and over 5,500 flight hours in support of Operation Epic Fury alone. All of the great things that we've accomplished, you guys are the reason that we've been able to accomplish it, so thank you and welcome home. A little bit late, but welcome home. To the members of the Air Wing that just came home in May, what did the President of the United States ask you to do? Something very discreet and very specific. Number one, he asked you to ensure that we destroyed Iran's conventional military, and as we sit here today, their Navy is at the bottom of the ocean, and they have no ability to project power like they did even 12 months ago. What else did he ask you to do? He asked you to destroy their nuclear program. And now, and trust me, I know because I look at the intelligence estimates, if you look at what our own intelligence says about their nuclear program, they are further away from developing a nuclear bomb than they have ever been since basically the last 20 or 30 years. And that is because of you and because of your hard work. And finally, what the President asks you to accomplish is to destroy the defense industrial base of that country, so that if they ever decided to rebuild their military, or if they ever decided to rebuild that nuclear program, they would be hard-pressed to do it. And you did that exactly as well. But today, as I sit here, there are people in this country who want you to just keep going and attack the President of the United States for using the leverage that you gave him to engage in negotiation. And why do we engage in negotiation? Because of you. It's not out of weakness, but it's out of strength. We dropped some bombs a couple of days ago. You know why? Because the Iranians were shooting at commercial ships. So we dropped some bombs, we applied some leverage, and we've had free commercial transit for the last 3 days. If the Iranians try to rebuild the nuclear program, the President's got options, again, because of you. If the Iranians try to threaten their neighbors or fund terrorism, we've got options, again, because of you. But what we must never do is drop bombs just for the sake of dropping bombs. And that is what the President will never ask you to do. He'll ask you to go to war, yes, but when he asks you to go to war, he'll tell you exactly what you're going for, and I think that is what you should expect out of your political leadership.
Mengadili. 1. Menyatakan terdakwa Nadiem Anwar Makarim tidak terbukti secara sah dan meyakinkan bersalah melakukan tindak pidana sebagaimana dalam dakwaan primer. 2. Membebaskan terdakwa oleh karena itu dari dakwaan primer tersebut. 3. Menyatakan terdakwa Nadiem Anwar Makarim telah terbukti secara sah dan meyakinkan bersalah melakukan tindak pidana korupsi yang dilakukan secara bersama-sama sebagaimana dalam dakwaan subsidiar. 4. Menjatuhkan pidana kepada terdakwa oleh karena itu dengan pidana penjara selama 10 tahun dan pidana denda sejumlah 1 miliar yang harus dibayar dalam jangka waktu 1 bulan dan dapat diperpanjang untuk paling lama 1 bulan sejak putusan berkekuatan hukum tetap. 5. Menetapkan jika pidana denda tidak dibayar dalam jangka waktu yang telah ditentukan, kekayaan atau pendapatan terpidana dapat disita dan dilelang untuk melunasi pidana denda yang tidak dibayar, dan dalam hal hasil penyitaan dan pelelangan kekayaan atau pendapatan tidak cukup atau tidak memungkinkan untuk dilaksanakan, pidana denda yang tidak dibayar tersebut diganti dengan pidana penjara selama 190 hari. 6. Menjatuhkan pidana tambahan kepada terdakwa berupa pembayaran uang pengganti sebesar 809.597.125.000 rupiah dengan ketentuan apabila terdakwa tidak membayar uang pengganti paling lama dalam waktu 1 bulan sesudah putusan memperoleh kekuatan hukum tetap, maka harta benda terdakwa dapat disita oleh jaksa dan dilelang untuk menutupi uang pengganti tersebut, dan dalam hal terdakwa tidak mempunyai harta benda yang mencukupi untuk membayar uang pengganti, maka diganti dengan pidana penjara selama 5 tahun. 7. menetapkan masa penangkapan dan penahanan yang telah dijalani terdakwa dikurangkan seluruhnya dari pidana yang dijatuhkan dengan ketentuan masa selama terdakwa berada dalam rumah tahanan negara diperhitungkan secara penuh, sedangkan masa selama terdakwa menjalani penahanan rumah sejak tanggal 12 Mei 2026 diperhitungkan sepertiga sesuai dengan ketentuan undang-undang. 8. Menetapkan terdakwa tetap ditahan. 9. Menetapkan barang bukti berupa barang bukti dokumen sebanyak 66 item sebagaimana tertuang dalam berkas perkara dipergunakan dalam perkara lain atas nama terdakwa juristan daftar pencarian orang. Barang bukti elektronik sebanyak 96 item sebagaimana terurai dalam berkas perkara dipergunakan dalam perkara lain atas nama tersangka juristan daftar pencarian orang. Barang bukti berupa uang dan seterusnya dirampas untuk negara. 10. Membebankan kepada terdakwa untuk membayar biaya perkara sebesar 7.500. Demikianlah diputuskan dalam sidang permusawaratan Majelis Hakim Pengadilan Tindak Pidana Korupsi Pengadilan Jakarta Pusat pada hari Selasa tanggal 23 Juni 2006 oleh Purwanto S. Abdullah SHMH selaku Ketua Majelis, Sunoto SHMH, Erusman SHMH, dan Hakim ad hoc Tindak Pidana Korupsi Mardiatos SHMKN, Andi Saputra SHMH, masing-masing sebagai anggota, yang diucapkan dalam sidang terbuka untuk umum pada hari ini Selasa tanggal 30 Juni 2006 oleh Hakim Ketua dengan dampingi hakim anggota tersebut dibantu oleh Bobi Iskandar Dinata SHMH sebagai panitera pengganti, dihadiri oleh penuntut umum dari Kejaksaan Negeri Jakarta Pusat, terdakwa dengan didampingi para advokat atau penasihat hukumnya. Silakan duduk kembali. Jadi demikian ya pembacaan putusan dari Majelis Hakim. Seperti kita sama dengarkan bahwa dalam pengambilan putusan ini tidak bulat. Salah satu hakim anggota menyatakan berbeda pendapat. Ini bukanlah sesuatu kelemahan, tetapi ini adalah cerminan kebenaran dan integritas dari Majelis Hakim. Demikian terhadap putusan yang telah kami jatuhkan, baik penuntut umum, advokat, dan terdakwa mempunyai hak yang sama untuk melakukan upaya hukum jika tidak sependapat. Dan untuk putusan, di awal kami sampaikan bahwa putusan ini sudah lengkap dan akan kami serahkan besok, sudah bisa terupload untuk bisa diterima masing-masing pihak. Demikian untuk putusan hari ini nyatakan selesai dan ditutup.
Yang mulia, ada acara yang belum terlewatkan adalah memberikan kesempatan kepada terdakwa untuk menyampaikan sikapnya.
Loh, kenapa mesti buru-buru yang mulia? Takut ya? Wah, gawat ini. Itu kan hak kita untuk menyatakan.
Harus dicatat itu.
Jadi dari 100.000 peserta magang itu setelah 6 bulan 30% diantaranya itu langsung bekerja. Artinya apa? Nah, program ini juga merupakan jembatan nyata bagi mahasiswa yang baru lulus kuliah untuk dapat langsung bekerja dan langsung dapat memperoleh penghasilan.
Mas Rizky, salah satu peserta magang yang sudah bekerja juga, dan tadi datang ke saya menceritakan bahwa saya adalah salah satu peserta magang dari penyangga Pidato. Kemudian sudah diterima bekerja. Orang biasa, kan?
PR utama pemerintah yang dari tahun ke tahun terus-menerus ada itu salah satunya adalah bagaimana caranya adik-adik mahasiswa yang telah lulus khususnya S1 itu bisa langsung bekerja, kemudian mendapatkan penghasilan. Nah, untuk itu Bapak Presiden Prabowo melalui Pak Menaker beserta tim membentuk namanya Program Magang Nasional. Dan ini adalah sudah angkatan kedua. Tahun lalu sudah dilaksanakan tahun 2025. Nah, apa itu Program Magang Nasional? Sekaligus saya terangkan kembali lagi. Jadi intinya adalah satu, yang lulus kuliah, mahasiswa-mahasiswa yang sudah lulus kuliah, khususnya S1, itu bisa langsung magang bekerja selama 6 bulan. Kemudian mendapatkan penghasilan yang cukup signifikan. Itu di antara 3,5 sampai bahkan ada yang 6 juta rupiah per bulan. Tergantung dari lokasi mereka bekerja. Karena sesuai upah minimum kabupaten kota tempat mereka bekerja. Kemudian yang ketiga, diajari, dilatih oleh mentor-mentor di perusahaannya. Tahun lalu 100.000 lebih 2.000 peserta magang. Dan tahun ini insya Allah akan dibuka 150.000 peserta magang. Nah, menariknya apa? Menariknya dari data Pak Menaker, di tahun yang lalu itu 100.000 peserta magang, dari tentunya pelamarnya mencapai hampir 400.000 Pak ya. Nah, jadi dari 100.000 peserta magang itu setelah 6 bulan, 30% diantaranya itu langsung bekerja. Artinya apa? Nah, program ini juga merupakan jembatan nyata bagi mahasiswa yang baru lulus kuliah untuk dapat langsung bekerja dan langsung dapat memperoleh penghasilan. Ada tambahan juga, jadi selain dari mahasiswa yang baru lulus S1, tapi juga nanti ada beberapa yang dapat ikut program ini, yaitu dari profesi, kemudian dari saudara-saudara kita penyandang disabilitas. Jadi kalau yang sesuai data itu 30% dari 100.000 kemarin yang angkatan pertama itu langsung bekerja di perusahaan itu. Jadi sesuai data Kemenaker 30% sudah pasti langsung bekerja, kemudian lebihnya sisanya itu dalam waktu 2-3 bulan ini akan direkrut oleh perusahaan-perusahaan lainnya. Begitu kira-kira ya. Kemudian terima kasih kepada perusahaan-perusahaan yang BUMN, kemudian swasta, itu angkatan pertama ada 8.800 perusahaan, dan insya Allah kita harapkan di tahun ini angkatan kedua akan lebih banyak, dan tentunya semakin banyak semakin baik. Nanti untuk mekanismenya, detailnya bagaimana akan dijelaskan lebih lanjut oleh Pak Menaker, sekaligus kapan waktu pendaftarannya. Kalau tidak salah insya Allah bulan Juli, dan nanti bulan Agustus sudah bisa magang. Kemudian tadi contoh ya, ada beberapa, satu mungkin yang menarik, penghasilannya saat magang 5,5 juta rupiah, kemudian kurang dari 2 minggu dia selesai magang, langsung diterima bekerja, dan di gaji pertamanya itu naik menjadi hampir 7 juta. Mudah-mudahan program ini akan semakin besar, karena tahun lalu 100.000 dan tahun ini 150.000, dan insya Allah semakin bermanfaat untuk kedepannya. Untuk detail teknis pendaftarannya nanti akan dijelaskan oleh Pak Menaker. Terima kasih.
Luar biasa.
Oh jadi dong. Kemarin soalnya dubes Rusia bilang belum dispesifikasikan, belum di Indonesia Pak. Oh itu B2B nanti ya? B2B. Ya nanti ya. Nanti urusannya nanti urusan teknis itu. Tapi prinsipnya jadi kok.
Soal pergagas industri Pak, kemarin kan para buruh bilang harganya naik, itu gimana Pak kalau dari SDM?
Kalau HGBT nggak naik, tapi kalau memang harganya dari LNG pasti naik. Tapi memang kita lagi menghitung sekarang adalah kapasitas daripada HGBT itu, kan di Jawa Barat itu ada beberapa penurunan dari sumur-sumur. Saya sudah temui juga asosiasi, saya sudah temui juga buruh. Sekarang lagi saya mencari formulasi untuk bagaimana bisa memberikan harga terjangkau, tapi juga tidak bisa terlalu dengan harga yang mereka inginkan. Sekarang lagi kita mencari formulasi ya. Oke.
Pertamina nanti Pak.
Dibeli oleh negara, itu G2G ya. Dibeli oleh negara ya. Oke.
Donald Trump mengonfirmasi bahwa kesepakatan dengan Iran telah resmi ditandatangani. Pernyataan It's Signed disampaikan di tengah sorotan dunia terhadap upaya mengakhiri ketegangan antara kedua negara. Kesepakatan ini disebut menjadi langkah penting menuju stabilitas kawasan Timur Tengah dan berpotensi memengaruhi pasar energi global. Meski rincian lengkapnya belum dipublikasikan, pengumuman tersebut langsung menarik perhatian komunitas internasional dan pelaku pasar di seluruh dunia. Tim redaksi Flash Media melaporkan.
You signed the deal? The stories made in Versailles?
Donald Trump resmi menandatangani kesepakatan dengan Iran untuk mengakhiri konflik yang telah berlangsung selama berbulan-bulan. Penandatanganan dilakukan dalam jamuan makan malam bersama Presiden Prancis Emmanuel Macron di Istana Versailles. Kesepakatan ini menjadi langkah awal menuju negosiasi lebih lanjut terkait program nuklir Iran dan pembukaan kembali Selat Hormuz. Peristiwa tersebut langsung menjadi sorotan dunia karena dinilai berpotensi mengubah peta geopolitik dan pasar energi global. Tim redaksi Flash Media melaporkan.
Bonjour. You've been clear, President Trump, the United States is not going to directly pay Iran, but the U.S. is going to let the Iranians start making billions of dollars, selling oil, accessing this reconstruction fund.
Only if they're doing things right. Only if we're not doing anything. We're not putting up money. Only if they're doing things right. If they're doing things right, if people want to invest, they can invest. But they had this $300 million fund. It's only $300 billion fund. It's only if they're doing things right. Remember this also. When you talk about billions of dollars, they've had much more than $1 trillion worth of damage done. They got a long way. There'll be 15 to 20 years to rebuild what they have right now. So they have to behave themselves. If they're not behaving, they get hit again. You know, they'll be hit again because we can do it very easily. It's going to take a long way for them to build back their anti-aircraft stuff. It's going to take, and you know, the other thing I want to thank China, President Xi. I was with him, and he stayed neutral, totally neutral, and I appreciate it. And I want to thank Vladimir Putin. He was very neutral. They could have made it much more difficult for us. And I want to say it. You know, somebody would say, "Oh, that's terrible. He's thinking President Xi of China." Well, let me tell you, I had a long talk with him. You know, they have shoulder weapons to knock down airplanes. That it's not like the real deal, but they're accurate. They're fairly accurate. I said, I would really appreciate you're not giving or selling any of that stuff to Iran. And you know what? For the most part, he didn't. So I just want to thank them because they made it a lot better.
Can you explain, though, what the difference is between giving Iran U.S. dollars and unfreezing U.S. dollars?
Well, the unfreezing, that's an easy one to answer. We have taken a lot of their money, and we have their money. We have taken their money. It's not our money. It's their money, and we froze it. At a certain point in time, I guess we're going to have to give it back. You know, if we didn't give it back, nobody would ever invest in the dollar again. If you took their money, because I thought about it, you know, I'm not the most perfect person. I said to Scott, why do we keep their money? What the hell are we giving it back to them? But, you know, people from lots of nations, some nations we don't agree with, they have their money. The dollar's become very strong under me. And they don't want to have a little conflict with somebody and end up having the United States just take their money. So if you do that, you really don't have a system.
What should we expect from the second stage of the negotiation from this memorandum?
I don't know. It's a 60-day period or so. I think it's going to happen fairly on time. We've been both involved. I think they're going to want to get it done. Iran wants to get it done. They have to get back to business. And the relationship is now normalized. So I think it's going to go pretty quickly, Steve. Could go faster. Could take longer, too, but it could go faster.
There's so much interest in the text of the document.
Why not release the
Oh, I will.
Why not release it?
Well, because I'd like to get a formal setting first before we do that. But I have no problem with that. It's a good document. Here's what it says. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. That's what it says. It won't have one. To buy, to develop, they will not have a nuclear weapon. And I would say that's about 99.9% of what I wanted, because we couldn't let that happen. You couldn't let that happen. And they won't have a nuclear weapon. Now, in addition to that, the Strait is going to be open toll-free. And it's toll-free beyond the 60 days. It's not, somebody said, oh, it's toll-free for, no. It's toll-free, period. When it opens permanently, it'll be toll-free. I want to congratulate our Navy because the naval blockade was unbelievable. But I'll not only release it, I'll probably have a press conference and read it to you word by word so that the press covers it accurately. Because it's a very important document, and unlike Obama, who could have destroyed the Middle East with a horrible JCPOA, it is the worst agreement. That was a road to a nuclear weapon. Mine is a wall against a nuclear weapon. I mean, I see these people say, but we already had one. That was the worst. He paid a fortune for it. We paid nothing. We don't pay. There was some statement, we're going to spend $300 billion. No, we're not. We're allowed to go and invest if we wanted to someday in the future. We have no obligation whatsoever. It could be that Iran will turn out to be successful when they have oil. But if we left a week ago, just left, before the last two attacks, it would have taken them 20 years to rebuild Iran. So, but I'll go over the document with the media in a couple of days.